my hand, no hesitating. When you're just so tired of trying, all alone you feel like hiding. Together we'll keep fighting. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains too high we can climb it. Fearless, we'll take in the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Can you see the sun is shining like a new hope? Feel it rising, coming over the horizon. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains too high we can climb it. Fearless, we'll take in the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. There's no stopping.
Good evening. We're actually live. We're really live. You see the clock behind me is a little bit after. It was 7:01, and it's Saturday, October 12th, 2024. And it's been a while since I did the video podcast. Stopped a little bit around the middle of July, with the holidays. Then we went to California for the birth of our newest granddaughter. And my daughter's husband was still deployed, and she needed our help. So we stood out there for a month, and it was good. By the time we left, our daughter and granddaughter were in good shape. And then, unfortunately, when we came back, we had the beauty of brand new life, and we came back. A family member had become ill and passed away. So it's been happiness and then sadness, and been busy with both. And things a little bit getting under control now, knock on wood. And I want to go back to my video podcast. All right, so I'm Chris Garguilo, and this is Real Estate with Mr. G. This is my weekly video podcast. I also have a blog, Real Estate with Mr. G .blog, with at least 5 articles per week and about 3 videos per week. And it's very informative, very helpful. And usually I pick a topic that was on the blog for that week and then have a video podcast on it to go into further detail. And I'm also a licensed referral specialist, and I'm still have my associate broker's license with, and let me get up here my with Realty Connect LLC, and basically, and you see on my screen here, You could buy or list anywhere within the United States. And the way it works, you enter your information onto my website there, realestatewithmrg.us, and it will match you up with three top producing agents in that area where you either want to buy or list a property, or it could also be you're selling a house in one part of the country and you're moving to another. And this program will match up with the top agents within that area. So it's a good thing. You could still contact me. We could still discuss. I could give you consultation. But the actual showing and listing will be with these other individual agents. And there's no additional cost for this for you. I'm not actually, it will send me some money. No, everything is taken out of the closing. There's no additional fees, no additional points for doing that. Okay. So with that in mind, let me just show you like a little video that kind of puts it in a nutshell, I believe. Okay. All right, already though. Now, I made that video, and I own the rights to that music too. I had to buy the rights to that, but I just liked it because it kind of sounds like a western, and I like westerns, and it shows these beautiful mountains out west, but I'm also from a city, and that's where I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, and but nonetheless, with my 30 years plus experience within the real estate industry, can help you find a home, okay, or list a home, okay. All right, now let's see, what is our topic question for today's discussion?
Good day, Mr. G. Vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance said during the vice presidential election that illegal immigrants were buying homes throughout America, causing a limited housing supply and prices to go up greatly. Is that true? Please advise. Thank you. Myself and my whole family love watching your weekly video podcasts. They are so helpful, informative, and fun. Keep it going strong.
Thank you, Mr. Chow. And that's a very good question. And that's very apropos because during the vice presidential debates, vice president nominee J.D. Vance said that the influx of these illegal, undocumented workers were causing these homes to, first of all, having a depleted housing inventory, right? And when you have small inventory and a great demand, you have high prices. And he's saying that illegal, undocumented aliens were the cause of that. And I'm going to show you a report I put together. Now, you have to keep in mind that it's going to refer a lot to immigrants who are documented, who may have purchased homes. All right. First of all, I have to say before I show my document, and I'll actually put it up here on the screen, and then I'll make myself a little bit smaller so we can get a little bit more. Okay. And let me get rid of my caption. So there's more room. Okay. First of all, I've been in this industry for 30 years, and when you are applying for a mortgage, there is so much paperwork you have to show. You have to show bank statements, right? You have to show 2 years of tax returns. You have to show pay stubs. Now, undocumented workers are not going to have tax returns, which is the number one things that a bank will look for, or that they require when you're submitting your paperwork to apply for a mortgage. So that's completely out of the question. And they're really not going to have pay stubs. Maybe some will, maybe, some will have, but they're not going to have the income needed to purchase today homes in today's market. And even if they had the cash, they would have to save up a lot of cash. I mean, if you're going, I saw someone list a property this week. I'll just say it was in Suffolk, and the size of the home, which was about 1,500 square feet, maybe a little bit more, with 2.5 baths, was like $345,000. That house, maybe 4 years ago, would have been a little bit over 200,000. So, if an illegal immigrant was going to bypass going for a mortgage to buy a home, they would have to save up lots and lots of money. Okay, and they would have to then, without being able to open up a bank account, because the banks now, before you open up the account, before you actually withdraw money, they put you through all these hurdles to prove that you're a citizen and that you're not a criminal, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it would have to be a cash deal. So this whole idea of and we have high prices throughout the United States. It's not just, in Texas or in California or Arizona, where they could easily come across the border. It's nationwide. So just the thought about legal immigrants coming over and then purchasing homes throughout the United States of America, it's just absurd. It truly is absurd. But let's look at our article, and it's on my blog, realestateWithMrG.blog. And I actually showed the infographic first, but we could go over that. So the National Association of Realtors, foreign buyers account for only 2.8% of the existing home sales from 2021 through March of 2022, a decline from the previous years due to pandemic restrictions. This statistic includes both legal immigrants and non-citizens residing in the country temporarily or illegally. Now, the term here illegally, it might be that they have overstayed their visa, their work visa, or whatever. I'm going to say, and somebody probably would debate me, that's not including people who walked over the border. Okay. So Dr. Lawrence Young from the National Association of Realtors, the primary drivers of home price increases have been low inventory levels coupled with a strong demand from domestic buyers. He added that foreign purchases have remained relatively stable over the year, without major fluctuations impacting overall marketing dynamics. So during the pandemic, when mortgage rates were unbelievably low, right, under 3%, you had people who became part of the buying pool who maybe would not have been a home buyer at that moment, but they say, hey, these prices are great. I'm going to go buy a home. It's almost like you have a nice car. And now, like, we're coming up towards the end of the year, the holiday season, and there's a lot of sales, and you go, I have a great car. I don't have to buy a new car, but if I get a great deal at the car lot on the present year model, I'm going to go for it. All right. But I don't need to buy. And that's how it was during the early parts of the pandemic. The rates were so low, it was insane. We used to have a guy, Crazy Eddie, back in New York, and I guess this is going back to the 70s, you said, these prices are insane, that you couldn't resist it. And that's what happened then. So more buyers entered the market and really squeezed out inventory, and prices went up greatly. And I believe in here, let's see. Oh, we talk about that later, because I want to talk about, well, I'm going to bring that in now here. In this area, let's see if you see it here. Yeah, moreover, institutional investors acquiring single-family rentals have also contributed more significantly than individual migrant buyers toward price hikes observed nationwide. So it's large corporations, okay, institutional investors, who are buying properties, single-family homes throughout the United States, taking away the wonderful home ownership that people can have from American people, right? They're buying the houses, fixing them up, and being that even rental rates are high, charging a high monthly rental payment. So they're depriving Americans of homes and home ownership, right? And to have, in a sense, an investment, and where they're building equity, and in most situations that equity will increase in value. So the institutions are taking it away. Now, I've seen reports of them, of these people, these institutional investors, and justifying what they're doing. They're creating more rentals. Well, I'm not buying that. I think there should be a limit on how many units or homes that investors could have, because you're taking away the ability of people becoming homeowners and building on generational wealth, right? Once that home becomes part of the family, it increases in value. You could pass it to your children and so forth. And the large institutions are taking that away from Americans. Americans who either were born here or become legal citizens. So actually, when it goes to the broad economic factors that's in the report here, low mortgage rates during the pandemic encouraged many Americans, particularly millennials, reaching peak home buying age to purchase a home. All right. So let's go back here to the role of immigrants. A report from Pew Research Center emphasizes that most undocumented immigrants face financial barriers when attempting significant purchases like homes due to limited access to credit. right? And those people who have purchased homes, they know that in order to get a mortgage for 30 years, they want to look at your credit history. All right. And even people who I've worked in the past, they said, I don't owe any money. I pay everything up front. I don't have a credit card. I don't have a car loan. But the funny thing about it, you're living credit free, but the banks don't see that as a positive thing because they can't see if you had a line of credit, how responsible are you to pay it back? So you were responsible by not buying something over time, but now they can't see, well, how good you would be if you had a monthly payment. Now, I remember, like, I know this sounds funny, but the Waltons home company, the Christmas Story, and they're paused during the Depression, and there's this doll in the general store that even the owner knows that the mother, Mrs. Walton, knows that her daughter would love that doll for Christmas. That would just make the world for her. And so he talks to her. He says, I'll sell it to you for what I paid for it. I'm not going to make a penny over it. And she's very thankful. And then he said, if it's a matter, I could give you a little credit. And she said, no, we never bought anything on time. And that sounds like a very, very stoic, view that we buy everything up front. But in the sense for Mrs. Walton, she would then have trouble purchasing a home. I mean, I think they built her home, so they didn't have to go to the bank. But that would be the issue. So that idea of, okay, I bought everything on with cash throughout my life, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. But when it comes to then trying to get credit, it's a little difficult. And in fact, it's a lot difficult. So I think we covered this already here with economist Jerry Schultz at Brookings Institution knows the narrative around undocumented immigrants driving up housing costs overlooks critical factors such as income levels and employment opportunities. And again, you have to show your work history, right? And the bank sent out letters to verify that you're working for these companies. It can't be done with undocumented workers. So I'm not believing what J.D. Vance said. I find it very hard to believe, and most people find it very hard to believe what he said. So this illegal alien activity lacks empirical support according to current statistics analyzed alongside expert insights provided herein above. Okay, and that's the conclusion to it. So let me show you a little video I put together that really summarizes what we just discussed. Okay. Now, last month, well, everything was going on coming back from California and then preparing for a funeral. Um, my new guides, the fall of 2024 buying and selling guides, or buyer and seller guides, are now available. Okay. So let me just show you a little video on that. So let me show you where you could download those buyer and seller guides for free. And you go to here, down here, you see, real estate with Mr. G.blog/resource-materials. And actually, if you go on my blog site, you'll see the menu on the top. And you just click on resource materials, and they're there. And you could download for free. All right? That's a nice thing. All right. So let me look at my notes. And I think I did everything that I was supposed to do for today's video podcast. I hear from my producer, Isabella, that we have a special person in the audience, some sort of entertainer, and they ride bikes. Is that true?
Hey, Mr. G, great news. We have a celebrity in the audience. Originally from Moscow, Russia, he traveled all through the city with his bicycle to buy food for his 14 children, even in the blizzards, because he was extremely poor. After receiving many care packages from the Waltons in Virginia, he decided to move to America with his family and earn money by displaying his excellent bike riding skills. He has performed on Ed Sullivan's and Joe Franklin's shows. He ended up with the Barnum and Bailey Circus. Ladies and gentlemen, Casimir the bicyclist.
Wow. And you see, the Waltons were even involved with that. I mean, the Waltons sent him money because he was very poor. Okay. So that's our video podcast for tonight. I hope you learned something. You might agree with me. You might disagree with me. I decide that this range of video podcast will be more, I don't know if I want to say controversial, but more on topic, especially that we're in 3 weeks with an election, and both sides are, they have their ideas on how to fix the economy. And I want to talk about that. All right, maybe that'll be our next podcast, and see what works, and then you decide. Right? I'm not pushing one or the other. We'll just talk about what they say they are doing. Okay. So, nonetheless, always remember: be kind to each other, especially during these rough times. And remember, the greatest power we have is to love, and the greatest gift, each other. And I'll see you next week.